Hello there, welcome to my YouTube channel Saint Nightingale. In this tutorial video, you're going to be learning how to make this lovely corporate dress with gathered side ruffles and an opening in front for a breastfeeding mom. Let's go. So first off, I'm going to let you know that I will not be using the pattern paper to cut this. I'll be using freehand cutting to recreate this design. So I'm going to be cutting the back. What I did first was to take out the zip allowance, which is 1.5 inches from that side. This material is already on fold, as you can see. After getting this, I'm going to proceed to get the half length measurement, which is 18.5 inches, and I'm going to also mark that on the fabric. I'm going to mark this across from the left to the right and then use my long ruler to connect the markings that I have made. Up next, I'm going to be using the same long ruler to connect the lines for the zipper marking, the zip allowance. I'm going to be drawing that line. That's out of the way. The next thing I'm going to be doing now is to get the wideness of the neck and the depth of the neck, as well as the shoulder. The shoulder measurement is 15 inches, so I went on to mark 16 inches on that line, bearing in mind the back measurement, and then went downwards by 9 inches to get my shoulder or armhole measurement. Then I went in to take out my shoulder slope from that line. The wideness of the neck is 3 inches and the depth of the neck is 3 inches as well. So I used my chalk to connect the lines freehand towards the allowance for the zipper. From that line that has the zipper allowance, I would now be calculating my bust measurement and as well as my waist measurement. The bust measurement I worked with is 38 inches. I also added my 1.5 sewing allowance because I won't be lining this fabric. The waist measurement I worked with is 30 inches and I went on to add my 1.5 sewing allowance as well to this. If I was working with lining, I would have taken 2 inches sewing allowance, but because I'm only going to be working with the fabric alone, I decided to use 1.5 sewing allowance for the sides. The next thing now that you can see me do is pick up the scissors to begin trimming out the markings that I have done for this back pattern. After this, we're going to proceed to cutting the pattern for the front. So very quickly, after cutting this out, we're going to open up the sides for the zip allowance and also trace out the curve for the back as well. Now that this is out of the way, let's proceed to cutting the front pattern. So there's no need for a zipper allowance in the center point, but we're going to be creating a zipper allowance on the side, but just follow me. The first thing I did was to mark the shoulder measurement. Like I mentioned, 8 inches bearing the sewing allowance and the depth of the armhole is 9 inches. I went on to mark that and create like a free sketch for that slope on that edge. I'm going to proceed to cutting the half length measurement as well for the front, which is 18.5 inches. I'm going to mark this across as well, and I'm going to use the long ruler now to connect this. So the next thing I'm going to do for the front is to mark the depth of the neck area, which is 4 inches, and the wideness, which is 3 inches. I picked up my chalk again and then connected it freehand to that point. Then I'm going to also be marking the shoulder slope, which is 1 inch from that, and I'm going to be connecting it. That's ready now, so let's get the bust measurements like we did for the back, as well as the waist measurement. Afterwards, I'm going to just mark and then connect the lines together from the bust down to the waist, and that's ready. So I'm going to pick up my scissors now and trim this out. I will just trim out that half length away because I'm still coming back to this pattern upward. So let's just trim out that part. So we've gotten away with that, or we've gotten that out of the way. Remember I mentioned that this is for a breastfeeding mom, and so I needed to insert that jean zipper in front. So I'm adding 1 inch allowance to the sides, and I'm also going to be adding 1 inch allowance to the armhole area, as you can see me doing. I'm doing that, and I'm also connecting the lines, and I'm creating a fresh armhole. This will make sense, just follow me. I picked up my scissors now and opened this up, cutting through, following the 1 inch allowance that I have on that part, and also cutting the shoulder slope as well as the round neck. All right, so let's open this up. Now I'm going to, mark from that part, get the center point for this space, right? I'm going to get the center point for this space, and the center point for that space is 3 inches. So I'm going to take out 3 inches from that part, and I'm going to go downwards and get the center point of the blouse, right? From the center point of the blouse, you can see me marking that. I'm going to pick my measuring tape and mark 3.5 inches on that line, right? 3.5 inches, and I'm going to take my long ruler now and connect the lines from that point upwards downwards, right? That's done. I'm going to pick up my scissors now and open up that markings that I've done, which is where the jean zipper will sit. Alright, so I've opened up that part. Afterwards, I'm going to have to now take out the excess 1 inch that you can see on that part. I'm going to be taking that part away now because I do not need that excess again. I need it on this other side now, for me to be able to work with. So this is done now. I'm going to now proceed to cutting the lower part of the dress, or perhaps we'll call that the skirt area. So let's proceed with that. The material is on fold now. I'm going to plot the waist measurement, the hip measurement, as well as the round knee measurement. Because of the style that we're sewing, it has this gathered ruffles on the sides. So I'm going to be working with the above the knee measurement, which is 38 inches. So I'm going to measure, or rather mark, my waist measurement now, and also mark my hip measurement. I'm working with 38 because this dress will not be having it won't be having the slits, so it just makes it easy for the person to walk through the fabric when it is worn. Also bear in mind that this 38 also carries the ½ inch sewing allowance on the top and on the bottom. So I've plotted the waist now. Let's plot the hip measurements as well as the round knee measurement. The waist measurement, like I mentioned, is 30 inches. The hip measurement is 40 inches, and the round knee measurement, or round upper knee measurement, that I worked with is 34 inches. So that's what I'm marking now, and I'm going to now cut through. The next thing I'll do now is to use the front pattern to cut out the back. Bearing in mind the zip allowance, which is 1.5 inches on that side, I'm adjusting it now so that it sits properly, and then I'll cut through. After cutting through, I would also open up the side for the zip. That's done now. The next thing I'm going to do is to cut the material for the frills, or for the pleats that I'm going to be pleating on the side. I made use of so the next thing I'm going to be doing is to cut the material that I'm going to be using for the gathered pleats for the side. The wideness of this is 10 inches, bearing in mind the sewing allowance for the tip, which I'm going to be taking 1 inch away. So that will leave us to 10 inches, and then upwards, where I'm going to be pleating from ½ inch, which will leave us back to 8.5 inches. So 8.5 inches added to the 38 inches, or rather 37 inches, bearing in mind the sewing allowance, would lead us to having about 43 inches long for the full length of this dress. The length, how long this is, I made use of 6 yards of this strip to achieve this. So 2 yards sewn together, joined together in 3 places to achieve this. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut the material that I'm going to be using for the sleeves. As you had seen in the video that I showed you at the beginning, I had I'd worked with the full puff sleeves, but for the full length now, to the wrist measurement. The length that I worked with is 28 inches and the wideness I worked with is 36 inches. On fold will give us 18 inches, and that's what you have. So I'm just going to trim to give us this shoulder slope for the sleeves. I'm going to eventually pleat this across the shoulder or the armhole, and then the wrist is going to be it's going to have the tiny elastic that I'm going to use to get this gathers effect for the wrist, and that's the sleeves for you. So let's proceed to joining this together now on the sewing machine. So I'm on the sewing machine now. I have already weaved the tip of this material. I'm going to now measure 3 inches from the shoulder slope downwards, which is where I'm going to be starting the joining from. The measurement for the zip is 8 inches, so I'm going to be taking 8 inches away to accommodate the zip, and then continue to close the remaining parts, right? So I'm going to take out ½ inch plus a tiny bit of quarter from that point away, and I'm going to go down again and continue from that point that has the 8 inches and just sew to close this down. At the end of the day, when I'm done, after inserting the zip, I'm going to trim out the excess on the other part of the left shoulder, right, so that it will take us back to the 8 inches for the or rather 16 inches for the shoulder measurements. So now I'm inserting the zip. I'm also making sure that the sewing is done very closely to the zip so that the zip material will not be showing and it has this neat finishing. I'm going to be doing the other side now, and then we'll proceed to doing other things on this pattern. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be taking the excess from that part so that it correlates with what we have on the other side of the shoulder. But that's out of the way. Let's proceed to doing other things.
Fire fall, let the fire fall. If it is an evil, let the fire fall. If it is a fortification from the pit of hell, let the fire fall. Let the fire fall. If it is coming from your foundation, let the fire fall. For I announce, move to the other side, move to the other side, move to the other side. Right now, right now, right now, right now. Right now, right now, right now, right now, right now, right now. Somebody shout fire, shout fire, shout fire. I see it written in front of me. Peron is the Caesar. Peron is the Caesar.
The excess on the sides. Once that's out of the way, I'm now going to join the sides together, bearing the bust and the waist measurements. Afterwards, we're going to join the waist and rather the skirt area, bearing in mind the waist and the hip measurement as well. So you can see the pattern for the skirt part is ready, so let's just join together. So like I mentioned, I joined this in 3 strips, right? So I'm going to be closing the tip. I'm also going to be weaving the other side, the other tip of this before I join to the skirt area. I'm going to show you how I joined this to the skirt area. Remember I said this is splitted into 3. So this means that I'm also going to split the area that I'm going to be sewing on in 3 places, so that each trio or each part of the 3 division gets one part of this strip, and so that the gathers can spread evenly across the parts I'll be sewing on. Right here, I'm working on the sleeves now, or one part of the sleeve. The length the measurement for the wrist is 8 inches, but the elastic that I used is 7 inches, right? So I used the safety pin to pass the elastic into the hole for the tip of the sleeves, and then sewed the edges down, weaved, and then came back to join the sleeves to the shoulder, to the armhole, right? So what I'm doing at this point is to bring out the elastic from the other side of the sleeves before I join the sides together. So I'd already notched the midpoints. We'll now proceed to joining the pleats, rather joining the back side of the skirt together before we insert it, or rather insert the gathered pleats as well as the zip, or join to the other half length of the dress. So what I'm doing now is to take out the allowance, which is 1.5 from that point, and I'm going to be sewing down to close up the back. I'll go to the ironing board now to iron this out so that the areas can flatten out properly, the waist, the hip, and the upper knee area. Then I'm going to be dividing the area that I'll be sewing on in 3 places. I'm going to zoom in now so you can see the marking. So this will start from the back, the back area where we have the joining, and then moving forward I divided this into 3 places, and that's what you can see here. The first division, that's the second division going all the way to that point, second division, then third division going all the way back to the back joining at the back, right? And that's it. So you have to get the full measurement first before you now divide this into 3. The area that you'll be sewing on, you get the total measurements and then split into 3 places to get the markings. We're on the machine now. I'm now going to join this, split this, following the markings that I have done on the skirt area. Ready now, let's just join the sleeves, pleat the sleeves into the armhole, and then proceed to joining the half length with the skirt area. Alright, so I've joined the half length with the skirt area. I'm now going to fix the zip at the back. Our dress is ready now. Let's see what this looks like on the mannequin. And here we have it. You can see the gathered side pleats. You can also see the opening or the zip on the back. I'm going to open this up so you can see it. You can see that opening, so you just move and then bring out the breast to breastfeed your child. And I'm going to also show you what the back looks like, but let's take a look at other details of this. You can see the round neck, you can see how the bust, the waist is, you can see the sleeves, you can also see the gathered pleats. Let me zoom out now so you can see the gathered pleats that goes all the way to the side and back. This is so lovely. If you have any questions for me, you can leave them down below in the comments section. If you haven't subscribed, please click on that subscribe button now so you can get all the juicy details about patterns that you want to try out. Do not forget to also click on the notification bell for you to get notified when I drop new videos. Like I always say, keep creating magic. Forward this to your friends if you want them to learn from you. From me to you, it's bye bye. Keep creating magic. It's Sen Nightingale.